Hey Malacca staff, just wanted to put together a quick video here. I wanted to have a staff meeting tomorrow morning, but I know Brian's having a coaches and advisors meeting, and I'm actually going to be only in for part of the day. My sister-in-law is getting married tomorrow, so I wanted to get this video out before next week and before we start sending things out to parents and students. I'm going to send you a few other things in an email to kind of go through some of this, but I wanted to talk through some of this before then. So I'm going to focus on a few things here. I'm going to focus on the learning model shift. I'm going to talk about attendance for distance learning. We're going to look at a calendar. We'll look at the bell schedule for distance learning, and then I want to talk a little bit about next week, October 26th through the 30th. So as you probably heard today, our numbers from Mille County went up significantly from last week, and I've kind of given you the history here. If you look, here's the last set of seven data points, and as you can see from last week to this week, a very significant increase. This is really kind of the driving factor here for our learning model shift. And so starting Monday, November 2nd, the elementary school is going to be moving to hybrid, and the high school is going to be moving to distance learning. One of the biggest questions that we've kind of wrestled with here with distance learning has been attendance, and that has been evident here in the hybrid model as well, as students are distance learning 3 times a week. Last staff meeting, I went over what the guidance said, and then we kind of left that be. So here's some things I want you to kind of think about, and I think will help with this situation. One, have some sort of bell ringer, question of the day, riddle, or some prompt that students have to respond to. And I don't care if that response is in the form of a Google form, some way to comment on your Google Classroom, some way for them to be able to kind of interact with whatever that question or riddle or whatever is. And then I think that would be what we would use for a record of teacher contact. So if you can do that each day, someplace that your students are going to go each class, and maybe that's how you start the hour or whatever, but something like that where we can use that interaction then as our record of teacher contact. Secondly, I'd say have some flexibility in completing work. So, maybe look at assignments as more of weekly assignments versus daily assignments. I know that's not always possible, but that might give you some flexibility here, and the students' flexibility as we kind of work through this distance learning switch. Mix up your strategies here. Use some synchronous, use some asynchronous learning. I think you're still going to need to record at least one of your sections of the classes that you teach and post those for whatever comes up. We still have students who have some connectivity issues, and we still have some students that even though they have internet, the logging in and the things like that, sometimes it just doesn't work. And we experience that here. And so when that happens, how are we working with kids and families, on the attendance piece of that? So kind of mix things up a little bit, and then continue to post, your lessons for when those things come up. Again, patience, grace, compassion, flexibility. We're trying to offer that to you. We're trying to make things work for teachers and for staff here. So we're just going to ask that you do the same thing with students. And I know you're already doing that, but I'm going to keep reminding us of that as we go through here. And again, nobody wanted this scenario. We were hoping that we would never get to this distance learning full-time piece again, but it is what we have. So let's make the best of the situation here at this point. Okay, so the calendar for November. We are going to try to keep the calendar just like it was in the hybrid model. So we've got day 1s and day 2s, and then we've got this alternate schedule that we're going to run. And I highlighted the days that we're going to run that alternate schedule. Now the 6th here on November 6th is a different color because that's the last day of the quarter, first quarter. We'll get a teacher workshop on Monday the 9th. I'll put that date back in there on that. But we got teacher workshop on that day. And here's where we have that day 2 and then a day 2 again. So we're trying to get back onto the balance of days. We had the same thing happen at MEA break where we went day 1 and then day 1. So we're catching back up here now with the day 2s. The rest of the month kind of lays out pretty normally. We've got a number of days off here this month. So we actually have, kind of 3 shorter weeks here, in the month of November. So maybe not a bad time to have to make this switch, for the time being. We're gonna keep tracking the numbers. The projected number for next week looks kind of ugly again. But after that, we're kind of hoping things start to level off and come back down here. Okay, so there's the calendar, and we're going to send this out to everybody. Now here's the bell schedule. Now the bell schedule basically stays the same, except now people can eat lunch basically at the same time. So we had that built into that alternate schedule, but here now on the day 1 and day 2 schedules, I just built a lunch period in. So for 7th and 8th graders, it's going to be 11:15 to 11:50 each day. And for 9th through 12th graders, it's going to be 11:20 to 11:55. I know normally when they're here, the 9th graders are eating lunch at the same time as the 7th and 8th graders, but we can fix that here during distance learning, so they don't have to. This should kind of make things a little easier for you. Those of you that had the split lunch, you don't have to try to get kids back into a Google Meet or whatever twice. So hopefully this, this works for you here. Okay, October 26th to the 30th. I want you to make the most of this week before we head to distance learning starting on Monday, November 2nd. So these things that I'm kind of giving you here, the calendar, the bell schedules, things like that, take the time to work through those with your students in each of your classes, make sure they understand what's going on. Work with students and families to troubleshoot any issues. So I know I've tried to send some emails when we have kids that have some connectivity issues and things like that. Just continue to work with students and families on that and help process through that. If there's students now that don't have technology or whatever it is, let's try to figure that out here this next week while we have them here, so that we kind of get off on the right foot here when we go full distance learning the following week. Reinforce your expectations for distance learning. Whatever that might be, if it's logging in at a specific time or whatever, reinforce what your expectations are for each of your classes so that it's very explicitly clear. And then Friday, October 30th is going to be a teacher planning day. So I'm going to give you more information on that next week once we kind of have things finalized. But that's going to be teacher planning day. There's not going to be any. I know the October calendar has that as a distance learning day. It's actually going to be a day off for students. It's still going to count as an instructional day, is my understanding, but that'll be a teacher planning day. So more information will be coming on that. Again, just thank you guys for everything that you're doing. Really appreciate it. Work inside of your departments and talk through some of these things. If you have questions about the calendar, about the schedule, or the attendance and things like that, please let me know. Sometime next week. That is our opportunity to kind of fix some of this. If we made mistakes, or if there's something we gotta fine tune here, that's our opportunity to do it before we head into distance learning. So take a look at this stuff, work inside your departments, and then let me know. Thanks again, and have a great evening.